Monday, 23rd of Feb, 2026. In this evening's show, we discuss Blackpool bringing the pride back, response to the horror show against Plymouth with an industrious midweek win against Mansfield, followed by a hard-fought point against high-flying Bolton at Horwich on Saturday, which could and probably should have been all three. I'm John Esparol. This is Seaside's podcast, match reaction show. Bolton Wanderers 2, Blackpool 2.
A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Seaside's podcast on a Monday evening. On the panel, should I say, are Nick and Tim. Nick and myself sporting the brand new retro shirt, the Easy Wear shirt. Just Tim letting the side down there, but it's a tangerine top and a definitely tangerine. So that's definitely a good t-shirt, Tim.
Thank you. But I do bow to your greater sartorial elegance tonight with your 1980s top on.
I'm just switching to my headphones. I've been trying to wear AirPods in, but it's weird because I can't monitor myself, so I won't be doing that. Welcome, Nick. How are you doing?
Yes, not too bad. Just you can see the background. There's boxes everywhere. The kitchen was delivered today, so the house is a complete tip. And Faye, bless her, is in the other room trying to build an IKEA wardrobe. And you would think IKEA would have very clear instructions, but far from it. So apologies if you pick up any background swearing.
I've got an Aldi workbench that, ironically, I'm having trouble putting together. That's like one you guys.
I think they do it on purpose. You get to a point and then it just goes vague with the diagram and no clear instructions. So, other than that, I'm okay.
You get about 2 hours into it and then you realise one of those pieces you put in.
Oh, yeah, that's just happened. We've just had to do some reverse engineering. Yeah.
Matt's also joining the panel this evening. He's running late, so I'll expect him appearing when he does. Quick recap then before we get going. Mansfield 1, Blackpool 0 in the week. And as if by magic, there he is. Welcome, Matt. How are you doing?
Quiet by the sound of it.
The folly of not joining us in the green room and doing sound checks, but we'll let him sort himself out anyway. Nick, Mansfield 1, Blackpool 0, a game.
Blackpool 1, Mansfield.
Sorry, Blackpool 1, Mansfield. I've written it wrong way around in my notes.
Yeah.
Game that we needed a response from, and I think we got one, didn't we?
We did. It was far from a classic, the epitome of a scrappy 1-0, but we will take that, won't we, after what happened a few days earlier against Plymouth. I think Horsefall coming in and Ennis getting a start, which was maybe a little bit surprising because it didn't look... Well, he still isn't fit, is he? And but he needs minutes, and he got them. And to be fair, it was a good job the ball, for the goal, CJ just put it into a dangerous area. He still had a hell of a lot to do, Ennis, when he got the ball. But that's,
it was behind him, wasn't it? The ball was actually played behind him.
But that's the class that he's got, and he finished it well. We rode our luck a little bit at times, but like I say, after what happened against Plymouth, it was just a case of getting the win by hook or by crook. And we managed to do that, and then you can take a little bit of confidence into Saturday against Bolton.
Could I remind the panel that I was the only one to predict a home win, I think, for that Tuesday night on the last poll?
I had 2-0 with
did you? I missed
Ennis.
that.
Ennis first scorer.
Did you do the prediction on the pod though? Was that
no, I wasn't on the John's.
Yeah, they were all doom and gloom, and it just needed somebody with a bit of belief and positive mindset to predict. I did predict a 2-0 home win like you did, Nick. So, but nevertheless,
normally the other way around, Tim, with you, isn't it?
I know. Well, I like to buck the trend every now and again. But
I
I did think we'd win. I always think we win when nobody's going to turn up, because there was a bit of a negative atmosphere, wasn't there, after Saturday? And there was I must admit, I didn't go.
I think the key word you used there, Tim, was nobody's turning up, and nobody did turn up, did they?
No, but that's when we tend to buck the trend. If people turn up, we let everybody down. Where if there's a lot less than normal, we do a lot better. So, and I think that carries through to Bolton. Whilst there was decent numbers travelling, it's nowhere near the numbers that we've taken in previous years. Where we've had 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 there, and we inevitably get thumped, don't we? Where we take a few less, and we see the team step up to the plate. So it starts on Tuesday, and as we'll no doubt go on to discuss, carries on Saturday.
Yeah. Matt, welcome. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All good. Right. Good. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just got back from the representing the podcast at last night's BAFTAs, obviously. So I was just running a bit late.
You're the one swearing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Plenty of Tourette's on here.
They're not actually Tourette's on here. They're actually not as bad as what was said there, but they're actually proper swear words that actually mean what they say, don't they?
Didn't Appers have Tourette's?
Not sure. He did drop the C-bomb once, didn't he?
Did drop the C-bomb, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm all good, thanks, mate. Sorry about that. Been a bit delayed.
That's okay. We were just recapping Mansfield before going on to the Bolton game. Nick's touched on the goal, and I've just put in my notes, Horsefall, magnificent at the back, and just plaudits also for the back three, who I thought were pretty solid, and Peacock Farrell as well. So it was good just to put a solid defensive performance in, wasn't it, after that sorry affair at the previous home game?
Yeah, I mean, Horsefall is what a miss he's been, isn't he? He's not just a good centre half. He's plainly captain material, as he was at Stockport last year, and we just looked so better for having him in the back 3, 4, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't do an awful lot wrong, does he? He heads it about 40 yards further than anybody else in the back line. And yeah, he's just a big, strong character that we need at the moment.
Did anyone know it was the start of the Chinese lunar year, and it was the year of the horse on Tuesday night?
I did know that.
An act link there, I think, John. But yeah, I mean, I think it's true. I mean, I wasn't there on Tuesday night, but it is, and there's a pattern, isn't there? The players that have the most positive impact for us on the pitch are those who've missed the most minutes this season. And, some of his have been managerial, wasn't it, under Bruce, where Bruce bizarrely didn't think he should be playing and left him on the bench for God knows how many weeks, which isn't his fault at the end of the day. And I'm sure he was chomping at the bit to get on, but he did miss part of the start of the season, and then he's had another layoff here, and he's just showing what an important contributor he is towards, he was a leader. And I think we've spoken before, haven't we, about the lack of leaders on the pitch, the lack of natural captains. I think him and maybe to a lesser degree Honeyman have that ability, but most certainly him. He's nailed on captain now, I think, particularly after Hubby's rather public defenestration as he's. You like that, Matt? Matt knows what I'm on about, don't you, Matt?
Very good.
Defenestration.
Defenestration of Prague, where they chucked the official out the window, which started the 30 Years' War. So there you go. That's your history lesson for the day.
There you go. It's not all stag do's in Prague, you see, John.
I think
when you go with Tim,
with Horsefall as well. I think Casey's a better player as well with him next to him than Ihekwe. He just seemed a lot calmer. And I think probably the keeper as well, it just gives a bit of more confidence throughout the back line, doesn't it? That, he's going to be there, because without him, well, we saw what happened, didn't we, against Plymouth? it was panic stations every time the ball came into the box. Whereas with Horsefall, as we'll go on to talk about, we got peppered in the first half at Bolton, and you're just so glad he's in there, because without him, I don't think we go into half time with a clean sheet.
Okay, as Tim said, my Horsefield Year of the Horse link was very apt. Another nice link for you here, Tim. Bolton Wanderers on Saturday featuring Rob Apter.
Yeah, it was a
Blackpool player.
bit weird, wasn't it? I thought. He got
There you go.
He got pelters again. I didn't. I went to join the lads in the Elk for a couple of hours for pre-match, but I was still under strict orders from Mrs. Tam not to venture on to Bolton, so I had to sulk my way back home afterwards when everybody got on the Bolton bus.
Did you?
But it was. It was a bit weird seeing him, and everybody, obviously what came across when you're listening to it is how much he got plenty of stick, didn't he, off Blackpool fans. Whether it's completely justified, I think he was pushing for a move, wasn't he? But then, do you blame him? He's it's a career, isn't it, for them at the end of the day? And if he's got a chance to get himself into the Championship and decent money.
I don't think people are asked about that, Tim, that much. I think it's the fact he's gone to Bolton on loan. That's what people are bothered about.
Yeah, I think if
we've had Brett go to Preston, haven't we? And Bowler's been to Preston, and I don't know. I just think some players naturally get more stick than others, don't they? For whatever reason. But I was a bit surprised about how it kept going all game, didn't it? It was like proper getting into his head. And I don't think, he set up, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but he was involved in the goal, but I don't think he flatters to deceive sometimes, I felt, and I thought he did a little bit against us. I don't think he had that much penetration. And I think whether the fans barracking got to him or not, I don't know a little bit. But he looked good, but I just didn't see a lot of end product.
Wasn't good where he was getting plenty of stick from where we were, Matt, wasn't he? Matt and I bumped into each other in the top tier as we were. I think our official seats were both in a really shit corner, weren't they, Matt? That's where I bumped into you, and I was actually on my way to find a better seat.
Yeah,
and I encouraged you to do the same, and we made our way over to the far side, didn't we?
Yeah, me and my mate had two seats that were literally just two seats on their own in the corner. Because it's sort of like a semicircular sort of away stand, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were just in the top right hand corner, two seats on our own, so it was a very non-executive sort of seating arrangement that we would have had. But yeah, we did what everyone does on an away game and just ushered ourselves to the halfway line, really, didn't we? Or as close as possible.
So bloody hard work getting up to the top of those top of the stand, wasn't it?
I know. I was pushing my stents to the limit at that particular point.
I was like trying to pretend I wasn't out of breath.
Yeah, don't have a conversation at the stop.
No, just don't speak to me for 30 seconds.
Yeah. I said to him, have you ever been to Sunderland? I said, this is only half as much, as bad as that.
Yeah.
So, it was a little bit taking your breath away a bit, really, wasn't it? But, it was good to bump into you, actually. And then as soon as we got into where we were sort of stood, there was another guy that I knew who was right behind us. So we had a little bit of a mini stand to ourselves.
Really. Yeah, we had a little gang going, didn't we? Saw Christine as well. Always keeps bumping into her at the game. So hi, Christine, if you're watching. Nick, did you go on Ashley's coach? I think you did.
Yes.
You? Yeah.
Yes. Went on Ashley's double-decker school bus. Few in Bolton beforehand, because it's not great for drinking at Bolton, is it? So by the time we got there, we just headed into the ground and had a pint before, and we were in lower tier, so decent enough view. I think what was there, just over 2,000 there, like Tim says. There'd probably normally be double that if we were a bit further up the league and doing well. But we made plenty of noise, and it was a decent atmosphere. Bolton fans were right next to us. So.
Quality, not quantity, Nick. I think that's the watchword, isn't it?
It was a very good atmosphere throughout the game.
with it.
Plenty of noise. I was in Home Bargains beforehand, testing the extensive garden furniture section in a Home Bargain. So yeah, that's what Bolton fans can do before the game, can't it? Do a bit of shopping, Home Bargains, Mackey's in there. Yeah. Visit a retail park before the game. Anyway, right, onto the starting 11, which was as... Whoops, that's the wrong graphic. Which was as follows. That's the right one. There it is. Peacock, Farrell, Horsefall, Casey, and Ashworth left centre half. Right centre half, Casey, Brown, Clarkson, and Anderson in the middle. Hayden Coulson coming back on the left. He came on against Mansfield for 30 minutes, did very well, so I was very pleased to see him. Waltz on the right wing back, and Evans and Fletcher up top. Tim, come to you first on that lineup. More or less picks itself, but great to see Coulson back on the left-hand side, a proper left wing back.
Yeah, I think obviously we're getting the sort of vibe from Evo there. And Echo can't play more than once a week anyway, but I think I prefer that back three.
It's got more balance, hasn't it, with the left footer in there?
I think that I'd share that sentiment. And I said Horsefall is the linchpin. I think somebody said in the chat that he's communicating a lot with Peacock Farrell, and I think that's needed because I think there's naturally been a lack of communication, I think, amongst our back line this season. And he, I think, stands out as somebody who will communicate, who will take charge, and who will lead by example. And so great to see him in. I know Brown's taken a bit of stick, hasn't he, for his recent performances, but I think bearing in mind who we had available, unless you were going to risk Honeyman from the start, which I think would be risky. He was the obvious choice, and as we're going to discuss, I thought he did all right actually on Saturday. But yeah, Coulson for me. When Coulson can blow a little bit hot and cold, can't he? And we get some weak performances off him, and he's 8 stone wet through, but he's a good footballer. At the end of the day, he's a decent footballer, better than CJ.
He's a proper wing back as well, Tim. So it immediately elevates him above CJ, in my opinion.
And then I think the rest of the team sort of picked itself. I think Ennis did enough on Tuesday night to warrant keeping the shirt, and Fletcher. Well, he's probably, along with Horsefall, probably the first 2 names on the team sheet, isn't he?
Anyone anything to add before we go on to the game? Nope.
No, I'd agree with Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, Matt, come to you first. We were sat together. I think we were pointing out the obvious early Bolton pressure. Blackett-Taylor, a massive, massive threat down that left-hand side.
Yeah, well, just even before the pressure really started, what a bizarre kickoff we had. Well, we just literally everyone was gathered on the right hand side, and we just hoofed it onto the left. But
it wasn't that. It wasn't even a hoof it into the corner either, was it? Which is what I think they were trying to do.
It was definitely some dodgy Far East spread betting, something or other's gone on there or something. I don't know. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Once the game sort of got, the pattern was basically Bolton attack, Blackpool defend for pretty much 45 minutes, wasn't it? And yeah, Walters was having a bit of a torrid time on the right hand side. He was, he is. We've mentioned before, he's good going forward. He can carry the ball well. He's got those attributes to him, but defensively,
we've never seen him tested like Saturday.
No. Well, defensively, I think we've seen him before where we thought, he looks a little bit, a typical modern day footballer type of right wing back, and yeah, against a proper out and out winger like he was on Saturday, he was found out. I thought personally, not found out in a bad way. I just thought he was just defensively a little bit naive. He could have shown the guy a different way, but everything, he was sort of almost flat-footed every time, and you knew what was going to happen. He was just going to drop his shoulder and go outside him and ping it in. But he stuck at it, and he
And the important thing in that is he didn't get himself booked too early on.
No, exactly. And in those conditions, it could have been. And in those conditions, he could have quite easily done it. But I just thought there was just a little bit of naivety there with him, and not necessarily showing him a different way to, showing the attacker a different way to go. And he just seemed to open up, the flank to him all the time. And as a good winger would, he took advantage of that. And it was because of those crosses we had to defend it, almost facing our goal a lot of the time, and that brought about, God, I don't know what it seemed. Felt like about 20 corners by half time. I don't know, but I mean, fair play.
It was nearly 15. I think it was.
Is that what it was? 15.
I think it was heading for. It was one point. It was 12, and that was before the end of the half. Yeah,
just lost count because there was just so many of them, and there was. We were talking about Apter earlier. There was very little coming down that side. It was all really coming down the other side from a threat perspective, anyway. But fair play to the lads in the centre, in particular. I thought we defended it manfully, and we never really looked, in open play. They never really looked like they were going to be a massive threat, other than the winger. And then the 15 corners were pretty much on the button every time one went into the penalty area. So fair play to us for holding firm. And again, going back to Horsefall, this is where he was absolutely monumental. Really, I thought he pretty much organised and cleared the high proportion of the crosses that came into the box.
Nick, I just want to touch on something Matt mentioned, the fact that nothing was coming down from the left-hand side. I've actually put in my notes. Could have been there would have been a hell of a lot more coming down that left-hand side had CJ been there. I thought Coulson was very good getting into Apter from the off. One particular highlight was when he body slammed him to the ground, which brought a rapturous cheer and round of applause from the away end.
Yeah, definitely. I think if, like you say, if it had been CJ, then it could have been crosses raining in from both sides. And I think just going back to Matt's point with Walters, that's probably as good as he's going to come up against, you would think, in this division. He's a hell of a tricky player, and delivery was very good, and their corners, I mean, every one was just under the bar virtually, wasn't it? You kind of had your heart in your mouth every time it
they were targeting Peacock Farrell, weren't they?
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah,
they weren't on him before the corner came in, but as soon as the corner came in, it was almost like let's basically disrupt his ability to get to the ball as much as possible.
Yeah. But we kept, I think we kept Apter relatively quiet. Coulson did a decent job on him, and obviously, like Tim said, he was getting a bit of stick as well.
Coming on to the corners, Tim, I've noted down here just needless. All right, they gained a lot of corners. A lot were very needlessly given away through a lack of communication between the keeper and the defender.
I remember one with Coulson, where I think Peacock Fowl could have come for it, or he didn't need to head it out, and he did. But I think there's probably at least 3 or 4 of those were wasteful from our perspective, I think. And I think that's something that Evo needs to work on, because there's almost an inevitability, wasn't there, about they're going to connect. If you have that many corners, they're going to connect with a few, and they did. And Peacock Farrell, to be fair to him, pulled off a couple of decent saves. There was one in particular I recall in the first half where it was like a point blank header, and you might say he's a bit lucky, but at the end of the day, he gets down, he smothers the ball, and a lot of 9 times out of 10, that's in the back of the goal.
That was from an Apter corner, Matt. We did have a heart and stomach moment on 17 minutes, free header from Apter. Thankfully, quite powder puff from him. Free header, should have done better, and a standard save really from Peacock Farrell. But it was thank God that didn't go in.
Yeah, I mean, it was. You're probably grateful that it fell to Apter and not a proper centre forward, dare I say it. It ended up being a bit of a picture book sort of save by Peacock Farrell, didn't it? And it was quite within his reach to push it away. But yeah, if that had gone in, well, you just don't want to think about it, do you? But thankfully, fell to the right man, thankfully for us. And Peacock Farrell did what he's paid to do, basically.
Nick, it'd have been horrific had that gone in, hadn't it? Horrific.
Yes, I'm sure it'd have been over to.
Or would
celebrate in
he?
front
Do you
of
think
us.
he would have? What do you think he'd have done?
He'd have given it
I
the
don't
ears
think
one, I
he
reckon.
maybe would have done at the start, but I think the amount of stick he got, I think he would have given it back. And you can't give it and then complain that if they come celebrate in front of you when people have been chanting wanker at him for half an hour. You can't complain, can you?
Some people were trying to revive the David Ayres chant from when he moved to Burnley. His shitty scouts, rubber fucking house. And some guy behind me was shouting, Robinson, Robinson. I was like, I actually turned around to him and I said, who's Robinson? I said, what? I had to ask him. I said, what actually are you singing? Is it that David Ayres song? He's like, yeah. I don't think he knew who was playing. And his mate said, what are you on about? Robinson? I was like, yeah, I thought he said that. But yeah, a good chance to get back at Apter. But Nick, wasn't all Bolton in the first half. Niall Ennis going very close to nicking one on 35 minutes.
Yeah, we got him behind, didn't we? And decent ball over. Was it Clarkson who put the crossover? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and he got on the end of it. And I couldn't really see it at the time. I thought the keeper had saved it, but I think it's actually the Bolton defender, wasn't it, who got in the way of it. Decent enough connection. Little bit unlucky, but yeah. Other than that, it was pretty much one-way traffic. I think the thing that stood out for me was just how we didn't retain possession. I was counting a couple of times, and it was like 2-3 seconds, 2 passes, and the ball's given away. And when you do that, it's just going to become almost a one-way street, isn't it? And yeah, we did miss that very decent chance in the first half. But other than that, it was a bit like attack against defence, training drill, putting balls into the box, you know.
I was wrong with the corners. It was 11, but I'm sure he said 12 before the end of the first half.
It felt like a billion. It felt like a billion.
A lot more than 11, yeah.
Like an aerial bombardment. Brilliant fingertip save from Peacock Farrell, 41 minutes. Saved one from underneath bar after the billionth corner. And he made an absolute worldie of a save, Matt. Peacock Farrell as well. Just got his fingertips to one. Do you remember we were like debating, did he save that?
Yeah. I'm trying to recount the actual
point blank save.
Thing itself.
Was it? Yeah.
There's sort of so many of these pressured sort of corners. But weirdly, I remember the one where he tipped it just underneath the bar and away for another corner, as it was. Yeah, but for some reason, my mind's just gone blank. I've obviously slept since with regards to that other one. Sorry, mate.
Well, there was that many corners and that many heart and mouth moments that are easy to forget. So yeah, I think we were all pretty happy at 0-0 at half time.
Yeah, relieved. I think.
Into the second half, then. Nick, come to you. I've put Fletcher head miles wide from free kick, a big chance. Fletcher was. I don't know, me and Matt were saying I don't know, there's something wrong with him. I don't know if he was ill or something, but he just was not on it, was he?
No, he didn't quite look at it. When you compare to, how he's done for a lot of games this season. And yeah, it was a decent chance, but yeah, nowhere near. And I know we had that chance later on, which we'll come on to. But yeah, I wasn't quite at it, unfortunately. And then you're thinking, are we going to get that many big chances in the game? So yeah, certainly could have done better on that.
3 minutes later, Bolton have gone down the other end, hit the post, come back, hit Peacock Farrell on the back of his head, and sometimes, more often than not, those seem to trickle into the goal, and it went away. But that's kind of, it was a switch for me, that point in the game. I thought maybe this is our day now, because.
I thought Peacock Farrell did reasonably well because he was down, wasn't he? Because it was a great strike. I think it was from Taylor, wasn't it? Is it Bairstow? No, not Blanket Taylor.
Blanket Taylor.
Yeah, he was a handful, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
And I've got to say, he looks a real find. He does. I mean, I was quite surprised when he got substituted, to be honest, because he was the source of a lot of trouble for us. And but yeah, I think Peacock Farrell just did enough with that, I think. And but there still seemed at that stage an inevitability of the result, didn't there? Because these corners kept coming, these deep crosses kept coming. And you feared that one of those chances would end up being converted, and that nicely segues out into when it does happen.
Clarkson had come on for Honeyman in between, but yeah, finally, Tim, the dam finally gave way, didn't it? We were told just heads in from a corner, and reminded me a bit of Huddersfield away.
Well, it was a double corner, wasn't it? Because we'd had one from Dempsey, a really deep one that we headed out and went for a corner to the other side, and then we have actors coming in, and their captain, is it Towell or something? He just rose above everybody, didn't he? And I think it was Casey probably didn't really challenge with him. And somebody said in the chat, and I think it's a fair point that we seem to be conceding a lot from set plays, don't we? Particularly headers. We've done it at Huddersfield, and we've done it again at Bolton. And it's something we've got to look at and defend them better. And the way we really defend them better is cutting them out of source for me, because once the cross comes in, and I think in the first half we did defend them really well, but when there's so many coming in, eventually it's going to tell, isn't it? You're not going to win every single header, and eventually we concede probably a bit softly, but it was the writing was on the wall for me. I mean, I don't think any of us could have been massively surprised, and I think at that point, there felt like to me as a voyeur on this one, sort of watching from a distance, was I felt there was inevitability that here we go again.
Did anyone else feel the same?
Yes.
100%.
I said to Jim, that's probably that. Because we've got a terrible record there, haven't we? And we weren't really looking like doing much. And it's another goal conceded from a set piece. So you're just thinking, is that it now? Are they just? I certainly didn't see coming what transpired anyway. Put it that way. I think you mentioned Honeyman coming on for Clarkson. I think Clarkson was feeling his groin a bit. I've not seen any update to say whether there is any issue, but I think we did need to make a change, and it did give us more energy and more legs when Honeyman came on. And to be fair, the other two subs, as we'll talk about, did well as well. Our subs made a difference, a real difference, which hasn't always been the case this season, to be fair. And I thought Honeyman particularly, he buzzes around, he just gets us a bit further forward and tries to make things happen. A bit like, I think it was a Wigan when he did that, and all of a sudden we're a little bit further up the pitch and we've got a bit more intent about us. So it was good to see him come back.
Matt, we agreed, didn't we, that we liked that substitution Evo made. Even Bison's liked it as well. Honeyman definitely made a difference.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was the Honeyman that we had at the start of the season, wasn't he? When he came on, he was all action and 100 mile an hour and pushing us forward as a group, really, and closing them down. I'm not actually sure when it was in the game, but one of the biggest cheers was when Honeyman and Coulson both went in with consecutive tackles, and the Bolton player ended up, in a heap on the touchline, which was fantastic. But yeah, it's a rare thing, isn't it, that we've said the subs have made a difference all season, but not for the right reasons. Unfortunately, they've always made us pretty much weaker, but on Saturday they definitely seem to make us a lot stronger.
Tim, not long after Bolton have gone ahead, we could have got back in the game, if you recall. Anderson, he's just fired wide after great work from Honeyman. I've put in my notes, you've got to hit the target. Coming 4 minutes after they'd scored.
My brother's famous war cry, that is. which used to shout from the back of the north. But it is, and we did start to come back into the game, but we didn't look like we had the cutting edge, did we? And it's ultimately the change in that last 30 minutes was frankly incredible. And so watching it from afar, I was actually doing some ironing, as you do. But hang on a
minute. Wasn't the butler doing it? Was it the butler's day off?
Well, no, I was doing a bit, but the game just like it ended up where sometimes like Mansfield, you just get bored, don't you? You just get bored of watching it, but the game just it just became the most fantastic spectacle to watch. I'm so so wish I'd been there. But it was you were like, ooh, oh, and it was just end to end. And I tell you what was interesting as well was how good Bays and Tomo were compared with the usual, dangerous duo that commentate in our games. I mean, Tomo's commentary is absolutely fantastic. It's so insightful. And he picks up, he's picking up on the hamstring, pulling the hamstring on Clarkson about 5 minutes before he went on. And he's got such a footballing brain on him. And it's quite a pleasure to listen to him. And Andy Bays, I like Andy commenting because he lets the number 2 speak, and he sets him up a bit as well, with some decent with some decent intros. So it was a great experience. But yeah, we all of a sudden started to keep the ball better, as distinct, and started playing a bit in that last third where, apart from the Clarkson chance, you can't remember us really going into the last third and giving them any trouble at all, could you, up until that in the first 60 minutes?
I mean, it all changed on 70, didn't it? That's when the double subs came. Ennis for Bloxham and Bowler for Anderson.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit earlier, but yeah, you're right. At the time, Bloxham's flat to deceive, and you sometimes wonder whether he's going to have an impact. And as we're going to go on to talk about, I think that's probably just about with his stoppage time, probably his best 25 minutes for quite some time for us, I think. And Bowler, you end up. People were messaging me in the chat saying, in one of the chats saying, why doesn't Bowler start? But Bowler doesn't start for a reason, does he? Because he lets you down. But when he comes on and plays like that, he's just unplayable, And I don't really want me to lead into it, but he's the way he goes through the 2 Bolton defenders to set up the equaliser is vintage Bowler, isn't it? Absolute vintage Bowler. It
was so simple what he did. He just knocked it in between her and ran through. And sometimes football's a simple game. He's just got the confidence to do those sort of things, hasn't he?
But yeah, it was vintage Bowler, and it was great to see. A little layoff to Bloxham. Bloxham gets a good cross in that tests the keeper, who parries it out.
Was it a cross? Was it a shot?
I don't think it was a cross.
I don't think it was. I think it was a cross, not a shot, because he was too deep to the line for him to be shooting from there. And he's put it into the danger zone. Bloxham sometimes, I think, has been a bit guilty of holding onto the ball too long, a little bit like CJ does sometimes, and ends up overthinking it. And he didn't overthink it. And he probably showed where his best position is, doesn't he? Out wide, putting a cross in, and he's done a job for us centre this year. But I think he's always at pains to say I'm a right winger, not a striker, and he did what a winger does. Keeper parries it, and then Coulson comes in and finishes it with, absolute precision. It was a fantastic shot. Found the space at the at the right hand, just inside the right hand post, and cue pandemonium in the goal behind. There's some Blackpool FC's official media has some great footage of that goal. Actually, I commend anybody to go and watch it because it's on Facebook, I think, as well as on their on the website. But what a fantastic behind the goals, showing both starting with Bowler coming through and then Bloxham's cross, and then it pans to the crowd afterwards. It's a great little 10-second, 15-second piece of footage, to be fair.
Yeah, what was it like in the lower tier?
Pandemonium. And a great move, brilliant from Bowler. Blocks has rolled his man well and got the ball across. And when it comes out, you kind of have that intake of breath, don't you?
Slow motion moment,
where you're thinking so many times they get skied or somebody gets, because there was still a lot to do and quite a few players between Coulson and the goal line. But yeah, very, very calm and slotted it home well. And obviously all the players, we were quite down near the front. Well, I wasn't near the front. I was when we scored because I went legging it down. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. And, unexpected. Like I said, when we went 1-0 down, I thought that was that. I didn't think I'd be celebrating one goal, let alone two. So yeah, we went crazy.
Matt, come to you to the Honeyman goal in between the madness. There was a double substitute for Bolton, Blackett, Taylor, thankfully removed, and Apter at the same time, much to the delight of the travelling Tangerine Army.
Yeah, obviously to see the back of, Apter was fairly quiet in the second half, apart from putting the cross in. Didn't really notice him at all, really. To see him go off and the other lad as well, who was causing us all sorts of problems. But then, they pretty much replaced them like for like, and it just sort of, carried on to a, to a degree. But yeah, like you said, our second goal with Honeyman, if that was our keeper, I dread to think what our fans would be saying in those circumstances. But I've never seen anything like it for us. It's usually something that we would do, quite frankly.
A lot of the Bolton fans were saying that's what used to happen a lot under Everett at Bolton.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the modern way, isn't it, to sort of, goalkeepers pretend they're, Rivaldo or whatever. They're just not good enough. And especially in those conditions as well, where, the last thing you really need to be playing tippy-tappy football in your 18-yard box with...
it was really tipping down at that point as well, wasn't it?
Tipping it down, exactly. Yeah. But, I mean, it was just... It wasn't even close. It was like a yard off off its intended target. And... Honeyman just, it was a tidy little finish. I know it looks easy, but it wasn't. And he just, slotted it in. And then it was bedlam in the away end at that point, not pandemonium, pure bedlam in the away. I mean,
just kind of an out of body experience. Almost,
it was,
wasn't it?
It wasn't, and I don't know if you recall, but 17 minutes into the first half, we caught each other clock watching.
we were looking at.
At this point, you were just like, "How has this happened from where we were? Half an hour before or whatever time it was."
Yeah, we were looking to run the clock down on that 17, 18 minute.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it was just chaos, and for that 10 minutes that we had, it was actually deserved chaos, but I never thought it would be sort of gift wrapped as it was. So,
give me credit to Honeyman. It shows the value of the press, doesn't it? Because I think in his post match, he said he just had a feeling, and he said, you get these feelings in the game, and that made him just go in. And he said he wasn't expecting the goalkeeper to pass straight to him. But if you don't go in, if you don't go in and take your chance, then that doesn't happen, does it? Because even if the ball's slightly wide of the centre back, he's got enough time to recover. And so if you sit off, you're never going to score that goal, are you? It's and I always liked us going back to the Yates years. I like the way we we pressed, we defended from the front, and Everett seems to be generally quite. We've had a couple of games where it hasn't happened, whether by design or otherwise. Probably otherwise, I would think, because I think based on what we hear from Everett, he wants that. He wants the.
I don't think he's had the personnel to do it, has he?
Yeah,
the likes of Evans and.
It's a fair point, that I think, and he's definitely had the shit cards dealt with him, hasn't he, in relation to who he's had available for the most part. So, it's just great. It was great to see. It was great to see the opportunism, and more, and even better seeing somebody other than our own keeper make a complete,
Horwich
a clearance or an attempt to pass, And it's worse when you're trying to do something that's on the face of it meant to be quite sophisticated, isn't it? To sort of play it out the back that way, because they'd have done what we'd have done, wouldn't they? Then and pushed it out to one of the wide fullbacks or whatever, or the wide centre backs. One touch, wouldn't they? And we've done it. And I remember. Do you remember when? I don't think it was quite as controlled as that, but when I think it was at QPR away when it was passed out to Husband, who got loads of shit because it was played to his back to the goal, and the ball was played to him when he had a player out of his backside. So it's not quite the same thing, but you're always in the risk of creating a real dangerous chance for the opposition when you're messing around at the back there. And we spoke about it last pod, didn't we, about these goal kicks where we pass it to the side and the risk of things going disastrously wrong. And is it? Well, I forgot which game it was now. Which game was it when Peacock Farrell? It was Barnsley, wasn't it? Yeah. So
it's been noticeable, hasn't it, that in the last couple of games we've almost abandoned that. We've done it maybe once or twice, and it's usually been a case of Horsefall playing it across to Peacock Farrell and then him launching it. But it hasn't been the tippy-tappy round the back sort of stuff. It's gone forward a lot quicker over the last couple of games. And that has to be deliberate, just if nothing else, just because it eliminates what happened to Bolton straight out of the equation. You can't. It's no risk, isn't it?
You keep doing that all the time. You do it once or twice, but you do it all the time. And all the team's going to do is press on you, aren't they? Because
Plymouth did.
You do it every single time. They're going to.
Yeah, we've got wing backs who can push up. We've got, all right, admittedly, Ashley Fletcher isn't the best player in the air. We know that. But Ennis has come back into the fray, and despite him being, 6 or 7 inches smaller than Fletcher, isn't bad in the air. He can certainly put his body in front of a centre half. So maybe we've actually all of a sudden got a few more options and thinking, let's just, be a bit more direct and, get over the halfway line is a good starting point. Because if we get a throw in from 30 yards out from their goal, rather than pissing around with yet another goal kick that's gone awry at our end, it's just statistically, it gives you more chances to score, doesn't it? And not concede at the same time. So I think they probably had a definite decision over this. I think they probably thought, right, well, we'll try it once or twice during a match if we feel comfortable, but otherwise we just go a little bit more basic on these sort of things. I'm glad for it, because I just, with the best will in the world, I just don't think we've got the personnel to do that.
It's interesting what Phil's saying. You do wonder whether the players have actually said to Evo, because they've had this heart-to-heart, haven't they, at Plymouth, after Plymouth, whether they've actually said to him, we don't like it. Because I can imagine they don't. They're clearly doing it on instruction. And maybe they're not comfortable with it. And, so at the end, they're the ones in the firing line, aren't they? And they're the ones who get the stick for it. But if they're doing it under very specific instruction, this is what you will do, then at the end of the day, Evo's the manager and they've got to do what he wants, but it doesn't mean that they're comfortable with it. So perhaps Phil's right. Perhaps something has been said, and I suspect it's come from the players, not the other way around.
Yeah, agreed.
And good on him if this is true and he's listened. So, obviously he takes feedback. So, Nick, we've gone 2-1 up. I was just, after that bedlam, I think Matt described it as. I was just checking my heart rate monitor on my heart data on my iPhone, and there's a little dot that's nearly going up to 180 beats per minute on Saturday. And I was like, oh Jesus, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I was that hyped after that went in, but that hype didn't kind of drop because you're so on edge about conceding, aren't you?
You are, yeah. I mean, just going back to the goal for a second, like there's been so many low points this season that, you know, going 2-1 up at Bolton with a goal gifted to us like that after being 1-0 down, you know, it's pretty much the highlight, wasn't it, of the season? And you're kind of pinching yourself thinking, how many years is it since we've won either there or at Burnden Park? And you're thinking, could we do it? You know, could we hang on? Because all of a sudden we had an extra spring in our step. All of a sudden we went at the amount of times I said second ball in that game that we weren't winning and hadn't been winning. All of a sudden we are. There was that sliding tackle. Was it Ashworth? Where that was celebrated nearly as much as a goal. Their fans were getting pissed off. They were leaving. There was one fan in particular who'd been quite been quite vocal towards Blackpool fans and was getting a bit of stick. He left at 2-1 and announced his departure. And all of a sudden you're thinking, hey, you know, are we going to get the win? But, you know, our Achilles heel of the season, defending, you know, as well as we did defend at times in the game, we've still ended up conceding, you know, two goals from set pieces. And it was same again, ball over, wasn't it, to the far post, and just a bit of a looping header into the net, and you're just like, oh, you know. It
was weird for me the way it went in. It was like almost a training ground moment. They didn't really explode, and you were kind of almost thinking there's a flag up or the referee's blown or something. It was too easy almost.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, like I say, we've done this all season, haven't we? Where we could have defended better, whether it's ball into the box in free play or from a free kick or a corner. I think it was it Coulson was marking him or not?
It was a good end. It was a good end.
That's a bit harsh. Bison's pathetic. I think he was running on fumes at that time, and he made a challenge, and it was just a towering header. I won't call it.
And the attackers got the momentum because they're coming in on the ball, and he's you know, again, he's 5'6", 5'7", I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't think he's 5'8", so he's quite small. He's up against a big lad who's coming in and got the momentum to jump and to get the power behind him. He's never going to win that header. Never. I mean, you know, Casey doesn't win the header at the other one, and Casey's 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is, and he didn't win it. But he's, you know, Coulson's never going to win that. And I think it was a bit of a strange goal just because it sort of looped into it and it didn't look like it was
slow motion
straight away. But it was a very good header, I thought, and probably at that stage deserved. You know, if we're looking at, you know, fantastic. I know we've got a bit to go back with the other chances yet, but you know, it was an end-to-end game, and they'd had I think a couple of chances just before that as well. So you know, I don't think the neutral would have seen that, you know, there's a certain equity in them getting that equaliser.
Yeah, you're doing a bit too much sticking up for Bolton this evening for my liking, Tim. A, with that, and B, with sticking up for Apter. So cut it out and fuck Apter.
I'm just trying
Rob
Apter. Honest broker, John.
But after that, after going to 2-2, we've had another couple
exactly.
Of
we've panned them. Yeah.
Last few minutes was incredible. It was
crazy.
7 minutes.
I remember watching crazy.
Normally, Matt,
when you get 7 minutes, I couldn't think of one time. I don't think there was any injured players. Sorry, I don't remember the trainers.
Tomo said this. He said 30 seconds. There's a 30-second stoppage in the second half. But there was 4 goals, wasn't there?
We were saying it, Matt. I said 3 minutes. You said 4 minutes.
Yeah, and then 7. It was like, oh, gee, you know, and because we're in the situation we are, we're just thinking this is just not going to end well, is it? No. You know, 7 minutes of injury time. But then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, I mean, we had a bit of momentum anyway, but we could have got another 2, I think, at least. You know,
3.
I think 3 maybe, yeah. Yeah, bowlers over the bar was one, wasn't it? Obviously,
Yeah.
Fletcher hitting the post, and what's the third one? Someone remind me.
The worst one was Fletcher's free header from that corner. In real time, Matt, that didn't seem as bad a miss as it looked on the telly. I've watched it back, and oh my god,
Yeah, I know, and it sort of goes back to what we said earlier about he for some reason he just wasn't quite as sharp as he has been, and it might just be fatigue because the pitch. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not
played
like
a lot of football.
It's not watching the big match, is it? On the Sunday morning and see the state of their pitches, but it must have been quite heavy, and he put a right shift in on Tuesday against Mansfield. So maybe he is a little bit fatigued, and quite frankly, he has been carrying the front line a lot on his own virtually for a month or two now. So you can sort of give him a bit of respite on that one. But it's it just wasn't. And if he was on the game, if he was sharper, then I think either one of those headers would have at least hit the target. And who knows what could have happened. But let's hope he just gets
well.
Yeah, well, this is it.
There's that one hit the post, bowler's miss. If that's gone on his left foot,
yeah, and it's
that's
just
in the back of the net, isn't it?
It's just these things that that if you're, let me think, well, arguably Bolton, but if you're Lincoln and Cardiff, these things happen and they go in, But if you're Blackpool, they're just not quite happening at the moment. And another day, another season, and all the rest of it, would have miraculously won 4-2 in the end. But as it was. It's a weird feeling, isn't it, really, when you get a point like that, because it doesn't happen that often where you're absolutely battered for the first half, let's be honest, and then you come back and you're 2-1 up, gifted, and then it's 2-2, and the final whistle got, and you're not quite sure whether to celebrate a draw or what. It's just a bit. I mean, cold light day, you think, you'd have obviously settled for a point given who were playing and all the rest of it. But it was a little bit weird.
They very nearly snatched it at the end.
Yeah,
of the
far post.
Yeah, at the far post. He's only just gone wide. That. So I think, like you say, when you reflect back on it, we'd all have taken a point beforehand. They've had by far the better of the first half, and then only really.
But look at the second half here, Nick. Look at our XG to theirs 1.12 to theirs 0.5, 11 shots.
Yeah. So we are a little bit disappointed when.
With the possession, so some managers won't be happy.
Mm-hmm. But I think overall you'd take a point, and I think hopefully a lot of encouragement as well with that last half an hour or so going into, which I know we'll probably talk about now for 5 or 10 minutes. A very, very tough game at Lincoln on Saturday.
Getting that whole match stats off. 1.43 to 1.43. So they had a lot more of the ball compared to us, but we created more of the big chances. And it's like Matt said, a strange feeling coming off at the end. You were happy and sad at the same time, but I think more happy than sad. And it kind of felt like a win almost. I don't know if anyone else felt the same coming out.
Like I say, I think we can just take some encouragement from that performance towards it. I think Honeyman said it in his post-match interview, didn't he? That they're actually disappointed that they've not got the 3 points, but certainly something to build on and take into Saturday.
Just imagine how you felt last Saturday to the Saturday before, which was probably one of the most.
It was a low point, lowest of the low point.
The most dispiriting performances you're ever going to see, and then the following Saturday you see one of the most exhilarating performances most of us can recall in recent two seasons or whatever. That last 20-30 minutes was just incredible. The fact that team's got it, it's got the ability to do it, but I think it needs a few more of these stray personnel to come back in, doesn't it? It's bad news about Albie Morgan this week, isn't it? That he's out for the season. But, hopefully, we're going to see a couple more players. I think Randall's close to being back, isn't he? And, hopefully we give Evo some options because
also sorry, Tim, also as well, hopefully now with those people coming back, we're not going to be having to do the experiment of trying to convert, Josh Bolton to a 10, blocks him into a temporary striker. We saw on Saturday that playing him in the more natural positions, what a difference it can make. So hopefully, even if they're coming off the bench, they can make a difference.
I think the main problem we have to solve is set pieces and crosses.
One of the things that's really I've noticed this certainly, well, all season I think it's been, regardless of who's been the manager, we defend set pieces, particularly in like this zonal marking, and I hate it personally. All it takes is a ball over your 3 centre halves, and you're stuffed, and that generally is what the opposition are doing. And if it takes, especially if it takes Horsefall and Casey out of the equation, you just you're relying on luck a lot of the time if the ball doesn't hit the target. And I just don't like it. And I know it's a trend for certain managers to do it. And Ian Ebbett, I'm sure, never played zonal marking when he was at Bloomfield Road and Chesterfield and anywhere else for that matter. So I'm a little surprised that he's adopted it, but this is maybe, what 10 years of being a manager does to you rather than being a player. I'm just not a fan of it, and I can every time
it's more 6 months being out of the game, and I think they start. Holloway did the same thing, didn't he? Where they go away and start reevaluating the way they're approaching it and thinking up a fresh way of doing things. Some of the ideas will work, and some of them won't, and the ones that don't, you need to abandon and focus on the ones that do.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. If you've got, a 6'2" centre half coming in 100 yards down the pitch to go and attack a ball, you put your own 6'2" centre half next to him. Surely, that's my old-fashioned way of doing it. It's not, you just play like for like. You don't try and match up Coulson or whoever it is that's your spare man. But yeah, I mean, I just think that there's work to be done there, and whether it's another, goal kick type of chat that needs to be done between the players and the manager, who knows? But they know better than us, so we'll have to leave it to them. But from where I'm stood and sat on a Saturday afternoon, Tuesday evening, I can sort of just see it coming almost every time there's a ball in the box.
I mean, just one more thing before we put this to bed. On the zonal marking as well, the keeper stays on his line. This has been a big thing as well. Peacock Farrell not coming for crosses. Has he been instructed to do that, or is it an attribute of his he needs to work on? Because I think that's causing confusion. That's conceding goals also.
I think a lot of it will be on instruction. I think one thing you're going to get with Evo is a very forceful personality, and he has very strong ideas as to the way he wants the team to play. We saw with Banks, probably one of the reasons we let Banks go. I don't think he necessarily goes under another manager. I think he's gone because Evo felt he was never going to be able to play in his system, however decent the player he might have been. And so he gets jettisoned. And I think, if he will say, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and he'll have all the stats in the world to back it up, whether it's right or wrong will still to be determined. But I think we saw that in some of those corners where Peacock Farrell was staying on his line, but I think it made it easier for them to try and bully him a little bit and try and block off his ability to then influence what happens when the corner comes across. And I actually think Peacock Farrell did really well, because he got to some of them despite them trying to crowd him out and stop him from being able to, stuck on your line. I think it's more difficult. The risk is particularly if the ball comes right in under the goal, it's very, very difficult for the goalkeeper in that scenario, particularly if you've got 6'4" centre backs and centre forwards coming at you at the same time.
Yeah, he did a good job, really, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did a great game.
Okay, as Nick mentioned, next up, Lincoln away on Saturday. Very, very tough test. I was just looking at the league table earlier. Lincoln's second top scorers in the division. And
I had a quick look before, John. They're the top of the form table currently in the last 6 games. Won 5, drawn 1. Very good at home. Won 12, drawn 4, lost 1 at home. Obviously, they're right up there in the league. They score a lot of goals, play decent football. Looking for the positives, I suppose they're not going to sit back with 10 men behind the ball. They're going to be pushing forward. So you'd hope that then allows us to maybe hit them on the break, on the counter attack, which we've shown we can do this season. So it's not a case of everything's lost. We'll be confident after Saturday. So hopefully we'll go and give a good account of ourselves. And as I think it's Bison said in the comments, they're due a defeat. So I think overall they've won 20, drawn 8, lost 5. So we'll go there with confidence, and you never know.
You can treat this one as the free hit, can't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
we said that on Saturday. It's almost a bit of a free hit.
This game won't necessarily define our the run into the season. It's March and April that'll do that. So this is an opportunity to, like you say, go there on a confident wave that we got from Bolton and give it a go. I think just to compound the stats, I think I read or heard somewhere that they're unbeaten in 17 at the moment, which is an EFL record or something possibly, or whether that's just this year or whatever, I don't know. But it's somewhere where I can't imagine. I've been to Lincoln a couple of times, and let's be honest, it's not the most intimidating of atmospheres, quite frankly.
It's a very Tim away day, isn't it?
Well, I'm going for the weekend, so I did have a look, and there is a river down there, so maybe there's an opportunity for
there's a marina. There is a castle.
There's a castle. Yeah, I spotted the castle. Yeah, so I'll be getting me ass out for the guided tour.
Fantastic medieval pubs.
So,
what's not to like?
Don't put your Stone Island away. Get your chinos in that suitcase. Your pink chinos.
Raspberry chinos out and
Raspberry chino.
Michael Portillo's away days.
I've actually gone to see Michael Portillo later this year when he's tour. I'm going in full garb. I just not.
But, I mean, joking aside, I think on the face of it, you think it will be a tough game, but in a way,
we haven't lost any of the 3 top teams, Nick. I was just
that's what I was going to say. It's probably it might suit us better than going to a bottom 4 team who are scrappy and sit back and we can't break down. Hopefully, like I say, with them pushing forward, it makes for a bit of an open game, and we can hit them on the counter attack. So.
I'm a lot more positive than I was last Saturday. Put it that way,
aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Who's going?
I'm
Anybody?
going.
Oh yeah, Matt said he was going.
Fortunately, I'm not.
You got to put some IKEA furniture together.
Well, interesting. Do you want a wardrobe update? Because I don't know if you heard the massive crash about 20 minutes ago, but I got a text message and I'll read it. The shelves you put in have just collapsed. So my contribution has fallen apart. So yeah, unfortunately, I won't be at Lincoln.
I do think putting IKEA furniture up with your missus is probably
a good excuse to go to Lincoln away.
Well, one of the most testing things you can ever do in a marriage.
That's brave.
I may be contacting you by Saturday, Tim.
He'll be
Spare room here, Nick, by the way. Always open.
He'll be putting the doors on from the inside, though, Nick.
I know, yeah. But no, I would like to be there, but I won't be. I'm going to go for prediction-wise. I'm going to be optimistic and say 1-1.
I was going to do the same. I'm thinking of a 1-1. You're not firing up the Quattro and going, Tim? Is Mrs. Tim going to allow you?
I can't drive it, otherwise I would have been very tempted. So if somebody offered to drive, I might be tempted. We'll see. So I'll bear that in mind, Nick. If I get an offer, if Ashley decides to fire up his Porsche, then we'll see what we can do. But no, I'm 2 weeks off driving yet. So,
Matt, your thoughts? Oh, Tim, give us a prediction anyway.
2-1 win.
Well, despite me going, I can't see anything other than a home win, given the stats and all the rest of it. I would love us to get another 2-2 or something like that, but they're just scoring goals for fun, it seems, at the moment, and not conceding. It's not looking good for us from my half glass empty point of view.
Exactly the reason we're going to win.
Probably, yeah, probably. So I'll go for 2-0 Lincoln, and then don't care if I've got egg on my face come Saturday at 5 o'clock. No problem.
But yeah, just to close out the show, what an unbelievable turnaround it's been over the previous 7 days, going from the pits of despair to a bit of more positive, upbeat attitudes. And we can go to Lincoln with hope anyway, rather than completely no hope would have been the case. So, yeah, well done the lads. Anyway, well done the players. Well done, Evo. We're quick to criticise, but I think they've all dug in and done us proud on Saturday, and certainly made me stick my chest out, shoulders back, coming out of the Horwich Stadium, whatever it's called these days. It wasn't tough shit at the tough sheet. It was a good performance at the tough sheet stadium. So come on the pool, and we'll hopefully be coming back on Monday with another 3 points in the bag. So go on the pool.
Go on the pool.
Go on the pool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try. What a goal! Oh,